Hello everyone, Phoenix Feather here, and welcome back to another Let's Play Let's Talk video. Now, before we start, I'm just currently just planting here. I'm not 100% certain. Well, I know I'm not going to be using this for the future, because I'm going to change some things up there at the main farm and around the map. But we've moved from Midwest, because Midwest, I had a little bit of problems finding a dump point. For some reason, I don't think there was any. I don't know. I went around to almost all the farms and couldn't find a dump point, so I just said, screw it. I like Northwest better. Northwest Ohio, because it's smaller, more manageable for a single player world, so this is what I came back to. So yeah. With that being said, let's get into it. Somebody actually recommended it. I do a video talking about smoking, but I'm going to say that for next week, because this topic I want to talk about in this video means a lot more to me and it hits home. Smoking does mean a lot to me. I can make a really good video on that, but this one is more important to me because it really hits close to home, and I want, since it's October, I feel like it is a good video to make at this time period. So with that being said, it is the month of October. The month of October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, and that could be babies passing away either in the womb, outside the womb, what have you. And it hits close to home because my wife and I actually experienced the loss of a pregnancy a few years back. Let's see, the youngest is 5 now. Well, no, she'll be 5 this month, so it'll be about 6 years ago, I believe. So it's been a little while, and it's something I've never really talked about on my channel, but I figured that it could help some of the adults maybe that are watching get through it, and if unfortunately they ever have to go through it, it sucks big time. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It sucks, but there are lights in the dark times, and I totally screwed that up. Anyway, so like I said, about 6 years ago, my wife and I, we were still a young couple. Actually, we'll be together this month, actually, for 7 years. Right? 16, yeah. So 7 years. So we were together for about a year, and she ended up pregnant, which was a shocker to me because she was on birth control. Which actually she was on birth control the second time around too, so I might be kind of a superhero. No, I don't mean to make light of a serious topic, but it's helped me get through it, and it's gonna help me get through this video without bawling like a little baby. So I think it was right before 3 months into the pregnancy. She woke up in the middle of the night, and we rushed to the hospital, and she was in the, back in the emergency room when the doctor broke the news that the baby wasn't gonna make it, and it hurt like hell. Again, I was young. I was 20 at the time, and we have my wife had I have 2 daughters, but in reality my oldest daughter is my actual stepdaughter. I just consider her my own. I've raised her as my own, and that baby would have been my actual first baby, and I was excited. I was nervous as hell, all hell. And I'm like, how how's this one gonna work? Am I ready for this? Is this something I'm gonna be good at. I'm gonna suck at this. All that runs through your mind, and unfortunately, I had to go through it with a second time. All those emotions of having your firstborn. You actually, technically, I went through it 3 times because I did it before me and my wife actually got together. She had a very young. Actually, she was 4 at the time. So, I had to say, am I going to be a good role model to this little girl? Am I going to be able to, all that? So I went through it technically 3 times, but it's never like your firstborn. You're on edge. You're like, can I do this? Can I, all that, and just to find out that all that excitement, all that worrying, and all that, it's for nothing because the baby didn't make it. It like rips out your heart, throws it on the ground, stomps on it, and just never ends. And it sucked, for us for a while. We went through a time period where I really think we were both depressed. Losing something that was, before you even figure out the gender, you're in love with this little sunshine, little sunlight, ray of sunlight that you've been gifted from God. You fall in love with it, and that's what I think makes it so hard for me to understand the concept of abortion. How so many people can just willy-nilly toss life away. I've always been anti-abortion because I consider once you have a life growing in you, it's a life. I know how it felt when I first learned that my wife was pregnant for the first time. I was overcome with dread. No, excitement. Before the dread hits in, before the doubting hits in, you're just excited, and then the worrying comes. But I know how I felt then, and both during both pregnancies, how I don't know. And of course, it's gonna be with my youngest, but because the first one didn't make it. The doctor's appointments, the sonograms, the hearing the heartbeat, all that is amazing. I don't know how people can walk away from that. I really don't. I can never understand just how people just toss that away. And there's a fine line. There's some people that do it because they really have no choice. It could be their life is in question. Carrying the baby full term could be life threatening for them. There's cases where in certain circumstances where the baby, I don't want to get too into it because I know there might be kids watching, but I understand those circumstances, but for these people that are out there having unprotected sex and using abortion as like a plan B, I just don't get that. I just don't get how life can be tossed out. And everybody's like, well, it's not life until the such and such. Spare me, okay? When you have another human being inside you, that's no life. That's no life. Men don't experience that, but I know how my wife feels about it, and I know how. I just know, okay? I know. But no, yeah, seriously. When my wife became pregnant, immediately I was just like, "There's no life in there. I'm scared." So yeah, it sucks. We went through that period of depression, and both of us tried to be strong for the other, but we both know we both were hurting bad. It was just like someone stabbed you in the gut, and it just kept the knife in there and kept twisting it around. But shortly after, my wife became pregnant again on a different kind of birth control this time around. Again, I said, I think it was Superman. And this time, we were fortunate enough to have a baby girl, our youngest one, and she was healthy as a horse from day one. The kid had feet and kicking power like you would not believe. She had like a freaking NFL kicker leg muscles, because I remember times laying in bed when my wife was behind me, feeling that kid kick my back. Literally, she's been a pain in my back since before she was born. But that was the light at the end of the tunnel for us. Yes, we lost a child, but here we are now with a beautiful, rambunctious little girl, and we look back on it and say, yes, going through that sucked so bad, but if look, I'm starting to tear up here. If we didn't go through that hurt, if we didn't go through that pain, would we have the little one that we just love to death currently? Would that even would she even be here? And the answer is more than likely not. So the pain sucked, but the light at the end of the tunnel was totally worth all that heartache that we went through. Because every day waking up to both of these kids is amazing. And despite her being a pain in the butt when she wakes you up at 6 o'clock in the morning, the result of all that pain was extremely worth it in every single way. So the biggest advice I can give someone that goes through losing a child, and another one, a very close friend to the family, she lost a child, I believe it was stillborn, and it took them even longer to have another, and still to this day they visit they have a grave for the baby. It was a baby girl, I believe, and they visit it on the birthday and all that. You never forget it, and I never forget what would it be, what was it, a girl, was it a boy? We never got to that point in the pregnancy to find out. So you constantly wonder, but then when you look over your shoulder and you're hearing "Let It Go" for the 100th time, or watching the same YouTube video for the trillionth time, it's all worth it. It is. Just don't, if you go through the same situation, don't give up. It's not your sign that you're not meant to be a parent. One of the things that ran through my mind was just a little accident that, a hiccup in the way you finding out the parent you can be, and once you do, you find out that how beautiful that life can be when you try again. Because like I said, I wake up every day to laughter and or you know, if she's pissed off, you know, yelling and stuff. But you know, I wake up and I come downstairs, and you know, my wife's sitting there with her and smile on her face. Or you know, like tonight, I got out of the shower. It was her bedtime, and you know, she was already laying down in her bed, and I peeked in on her and told her good night. She goes, good night. Oh, I gotta pee. And she jumps up out of bed and runs to the bathroom. Then it goes back and lays down. Like, do you want me to tuck you in? You got? Nah, I got it. Good night. Actually, no. When I come out of the bathroom, she was actually laying in bed, and I could hear her singing. And I peeked in the door, and she was laying there with her arm around her stuffed giraffe, singing to it. And it's little moments like that makes parenting worth it. Anyone who is a parent knows those little moments just tug at your heartstrings, and it all falls in place. It all falls into place. So, if you're going through it, you know, if you've had the unfortunate loss of a child, I know the feeling. I know it sucks, and you know, just know there will be light at the end of the tunnel. You'll get through it. Just keep trying. If you have other children already, just grab a hold of the one you have, or the ones you have, and just love them. Give them a hug. Whenever you're feeling down, because I'm down about the situation, because those are the ones that will get you through. That'll get you through it. But that's gonna do it for today, guys. Sorry if it was too serious for some people. I know it's a hard topic to talk about, and so many people don't want to talk about it. But you know, again, this series is to help anyone that can get help from it. You know, I know it's a real topic. It's a real situation that a lot of people unfortunately have to face. If I could share my story and help someone else that might be going through the same thing, that's what this series is about. So if you guys did like the video, be sure to leave a like down below. If you guys want to see more Let's Plays, Let's Talks, be sure to click subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye bye.